Okay, let's do this last video. So we're going to talk about pulling it all together, and this section here says determine features of a polynomial graph. That's where we're going to start now. So they're asking us about different parts of this graph, and let's see, what are they asking? They're asking about the degree. Is it odd or even? So let's talk about that first. Odd or even degree, right? If it's odd or even degree, you look at the highest exponent and if it's odd or even, but we don't have the equation, so you're going to have to look at the graph. Odd degree means they're going to be going, the ends are going to go in opposite directions. Even degree means the ends are going to go in the same direction. So when we look at this one, are the ends going in the same or opposite direction? They're going in the same. So what would go there would be even when we're talking about the degree, okay? That's an even degree function because they're both going in the same direction. So let's go ahead and pick that answer right here, even degree, because they're both going in the same direction. Now the next part says, and the leading coefficient is positive or negative. Now remember, the leading coefficient on the graph, if we look at the right side of the graph, so let me do this, leading coefficient, right side tells you, okay, of the graph. So what I mean by that is the right side of this graph going up or is it going down? Well, the right side of this graph is going down, so that's going to be a negative leading coefficient. And that's again because the right side is going down. The right side of the graph is going down. Okay, so when we go back over here, we're going to pick negative. Now, this is the easy part right here. There are blank real zeros and blank relative minimum. So to be a real zero, that just means that that the graph is actually touching the x-axis. So how many times does this graph touch the x-axis? You're just counting. How many times does this graph touch the x-axis? Well, it looks like one here, one here. So that's 3 so far. 4, 5. Ooh, that's a big one. So it has 5 real zeros. And I wrote that in the wrong spot. 5 real zeros. And then this last part is asking about relative minimum. Remember, that's just going to be the bottom of a dip. Okay? The bottom of a dip. Now, the graph can do all sorts of other stuff, but what I care about is how many spots does it go down and back up. So that's an up. That would be a max. So there's a min. That's a max. There's a min. That's a max. And then no more mins. So how many of those did we make? 2. Those. So if I go back here, I need 5 in this spot, 5 real zeros, and 2 relative minimum. Let me check. Did I do it? Ka-chow! I didn't make any goofy mistakes this time. It happens, by the way. Goofy mistakes happen. All right, let's look at the next one. So the next one, again, they're asking about the degree of this function. Remember, degree looking at a graph, if they're even, they both go in the same direction. If they are odd, they go in different directions. Even degree, same. Odd degree, different. So this one on the end, let's see, that side's going up. What's this side doing? It's also going up. So same direction. In this case, they're both going up. So that means it's an even degree function. Even degree polynomial, even degree function. So I would type in there, even. Okay. The leading coefficient is either going to be positive or negative, and the way that we see that, remember, is it's about the right side of the graph. So the leading coefficient comes from what the right side of the graph is doing. Well, what is the right side of this graph doing? It's going up. So since the right side of the graph is going up, right side is up, so then the leading coefficient must be positive. All right, since the right side of the graph is going up, the leading coefficient is positive. So let's see, that guy would be even, and this guy would be positive. And then we're going to count how many real zeros. Remember, real zeros come from how many times it touches the x-axis. It could cross it or just touch it. It could cross it or just touch it. So I'm just going to count. Looks like 1, 2, 3. So 3 real zeros. Relative minimum is going, oh, that's a terrible little line. I tried to underline. Let me try again with my finger maybe. Not much better. But relative minimum is just going to be the bottom of a dip, right? So that'd be like this. This little guy down here at the bottom. Boop, 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 boop. That's relative minimum. So let's see how many we have. Oh, there's one. That's a max. Here's 2. That looks like it kind of gets flat and then goes up. So it looks like there are 2. So let's see. We got to type in, I have to choose even here, positive here, 3 real zeros, and 2 relative minimum. Let's see. Ka-chow. There you go. All right. Peace out, my home skillets.